Be still now. Close the door of the outer world and come within. There, in the sacred silence of your soul, dwells the power that shapes your every tomorrow. You were never meant to chase the world. You were meant to remember that the world responds to your inner gaze. All things, people, circumstances, riches, healing, appear according to the state you occupy within. So what is the first step? Focus on God. Not the God of distance, not the God of fear, but the God within. The I am. The moment you say I am, you call upon the Creator. Every identity you attach to that statement becomes your reality. I am peaceful. I am provided for. I am healed. These are not affirmations. They are divine decrees. But you must humble yourself before this power. And humility is not weakness. It is reverence. It is the realization that your limited senses do not dictate truth. What you see with the eyes of flesh is only the echo of an old thought. What you choose to dwell upon now becomes your tomorrow. To humble yourself is to surrender the need to figure it all out. It is to let go of your timelines, your complaints, your need to be right. The proud demand signs. The humble walk by faith. And in this faith you must stay silent. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you are allowing the greater part of you to work. When you plant a seed, do you dig it up every hour to check its growth? No. You leave it. You trust the soil. So too, when you plant your intention in the soil of your spirit, you must let it rest in quiet faith. Silence is your strength. In stillness, the power moves. In silence, the doors open. What you do not speak of often comes to pass faster, for the world cannot interfere with what it does not know. So today, stop explaining yourself. Stop defending your desires. Stop asking others for validation. And above all, stop doubting the God within you. Focus inward. Bow in gratitude not for what you are hoping to receive, but for what already exists in the unseen. And then be still. Let the stillness prove what your words cannot. The power that forms all things is not somewhere far away in the sky. It is not locked behind a temple door, nor is it reserved only for saints and sages. This power, the divine essence that breathes life into worlds, raises valleys, levels mountains, and answers unspoken prayers, dwells quietly within you. It is closer than your hands, nearer than your feet. It is in your breath, in your silence, in your imagination. And until you recognize this eternal truth, you will always live as if the world has power over you. Most live in fear because they believe they are separate from the source. They wake up worried about what the day will bring, fearing lack, judgment, rejection, or failure. But what if you knew that everything you would ever need is already seated within your being? What if you could understand that the world you walk through is not something happening to you, but something unfolding from you? You were not created to be powerless. You were created in the image of divine consciousness. And this consciousness doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. When you say, I am, you awaken that very power. I am is not a name, it is a door. And what you place after it becomes your experience. Look around your life. Every condition, every relationship, every pattern, these are mirrors of what you've accepted as true about yourself. If you have long believed you are unworthy, you will meet people who treat you that way. If you have believed you must work hard to earn love or success, life will echo that belief until you finally see that it was never about struggle, it was always about awareness. The power is not outside you. The world is not your master. It is your reflection. And the moment you change what you accept as truth within, the outer world must follow. This is law. You are not subject to your past. You are not bound by your upbringing, your environment, or the opinions of others. You are subject only to your inner assumptions. You become what you believe yourself to be, not what you wish to be, but what you accept as real in the stillness of your mind. Imagination is the creative faculty of the divine within. What you imagine and feel to be true becomes the substance of your world. You do not need to wait for things to change to feel peace. You need only enter the state where peace is already real. You do not wait for money to appear to feel rich. You move inward and assume the feeling of wealth. You think from the desired state, not toward it. This is not denial, this is creation. Once you realize that the divine lives in you as your own wonderful human imagination, you'll stop pleading with the world. You'll stop praying as if God was some far-off figure who might or might not hear you. Instead, you'll go within and commune with the I Am. You'll speak inwardly, not as a beggar, but as one who knows the truth, that to assume a state is to manifest it. This is the quiet power that forms all things. And when you recognize it within yourself, fear dies. Because what is there to fear if you know that all you need to do is enter the state of what you desire and let it unfold? What is there to worry about if the world only reflects your inner world? You move differently. You'll speak less. You'll trust more. You'll begin to live not as one hoping for change, but as one who is the change. It has always been within you. Now is the time to remember. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of something far greater than noise can contain. In silence, you meet the eternal. You touch the source. You enter the place where the Spirit breathes and where creation quietly begins. It is not through loud declarations or repeated affirmations that the deepest manifestations are born. It is through stillness, through trust, through the silent knowing that God is already at work. Many believe they must speak endlessly, beg passionately, or declare their desires over and over again for the divine to hear. But the Spirit does not respond to volume, it responds to faith. And faith, true faith, does not need to convince. It rests. It leans back into the silence and allows the unseen to do its work. When you speak too often of your desire, when you explain, plead, or justify, you are not in belief, you are in doubt. You may not realize it, but every word spoken from fear delays the very thing you are asking for. Words, when spoken in anxiety, crowd the sacred space where miracles were meant to arrive. They make noise in a room that was built for peace. The most powerful moments in your spiritual life will not be marked by the things you say, but by the things you allow yourself to feel in the silence. It is there in that gentle stillness that the presence of God whispers truth to your soul. Not in shouting, not in spectacle, but in silence. You don't need to announce what you're creating. You don't need to explain your journey. You don't need to prove your faith to anyone, not even yourself. Your stillness proves it. When you can sit in the quiet and feel the reality of your answered prayer without needing anyone else to confirm it, that is when it begins to manifest. That is when the inner world starts to move the outer world. All of creation begins in the invisible, and silence is the womb of the invisible. In silence, the seed takes root. In silence, the old breaks down and the new is prepared. To the outer world, it may appear as if nothing is happening, but the one who understands the Spirit knows better. They know that in stillness, God works fastest, because there is no resistance, no panic, no interference, only allowing. Most people are afraid of silence. They rush to fill it with noise, conversation, distractions, or endless questions. But silence is not to be feared, it is to be entered. Because silence is sacred. It is where you release control, where you stop managing outcomes, where you let go of the need to be seen or heard or validated. Silence is strength. It is not weakness to say nothing. It is not passivity to trust in quiet. It is alignment. Those who know the truth walk silently because they are certain of what is coming. They do not need to speak of it. Their spirit already holds it. You are not required to shout your intentions to the sky. The whisper of belief within you is loud enough for the entire universe to respond. God is not hard of hearing. The Spirit is not confused. It is precise. It is responsive. And it is activated by your inner acceptance, not by your outer expression. So hold your peace. Sit with your desire in stillness. Let your inner world become full of the thing you seek, and then fall silent. Trust that what you have accepted within will be made visible without. Not because you said the right words, but because you entered the right state. Silence is the highest form of faith. It says, I do not need to see it yet. I already know. And it is in that knowing, in that sacred silence, that all things unfold. Humility is often misunderstood. It is not self-deprecation. It is not shrinking to make others feel tall. It is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. To humble yourself is not to lose power, but to bring your power under divine alignment. It is not weakness, but strength harnessed with wisdom. The wild river that is tamed becomes a source of life. The same river left unchecked can destroy. Such is the nature of power. When guided by humility, it becomes creative, not destructive. In the world, many confuse pride with strength. They speak loudly, demand recognition, and rush to defend their names. But true power does not need to prove anything. It does not need applause or attention. It moves quietly, efficiently, and with great purpose. A lion does not need to announce that it is a lion. The same is true for the one who is spiritually awake. They know who they are. They know what lives within them. And in that knowing, they are free to be still. Humility is not forgetting that you have power. It is remembering where it comes from. It is recognizing that your life, your gifts, your mind, your breath, all originate from a source far greater than the ego. And so rather than take credit for all that flows through you, you surrender the need to be seen and instead seek only to remain in harmony with that higher order. You become a vessel, not the origin. You become a channel, not the source. The quietest vessel often holds the deepest oil. The most refined spirit often walks without drawing attention. They carry something too sacred to display for the crowd. Their richness is inward. Their peace is not for show. When you humble yourself, you allow this richness to deepen. You stop leaking energy in the form of defense, comparison, or control. You no longer fight to be right. You rest in the truth that your worth is not up for debate. It has already been established by the divine within. To humble yourself is to become teachable. It is to admit that you do not know everything, and in doing so you make space for revelation. Pride closes the door to wisdom, but humility keeps it wide open. It says, I am willing to be shown. I am willing to learn. I do not need to lead every step. I am willing to be led. And in this surrender, miracles begin to move. Not because you forced them, but because you align with the order through which they arise. When you release the need to elevate yourself in the eyes of others, you become available for elevation in the eyes of God. Those who try to lift themselves by shouting often fall the hardest, but those who go low in reverence are lifted high in purpose. The Spirit honors the quiet heart. It trusts the one who does not seek credit. For it knows that what is done in humility cannot be shaken by praise or destroyed by criticism. So let yourself go low, not in shame, but in reverence. Bow not to the world, but to the divine law within. Let your ego become still, so that your spirit may rise. You will find that everything you are chasing outside of yourself, respect, peace, direction, abundance, begins to come not when you grasp for it, but when you let go and align with something higher. This is humility. Power surrendered to purpose, willingness wrapped in wisdom, and in this state you become not smaller but stronger, not diminished but defined. You are no longer a wave crashing against life, but the deep ocean, calm, vast, and full of unshakable presence. Faith is not a frantic reaching, it is a quiet receiving. It does not beg, chase, or wrestle for what already exists. Faith is not born in struggle, it is revealed in stillness. When you truly believe that what you desire is already finished in the unseen, you do not rush to force its arrival. You rest. You breathe. You walk in quiet confidence, knowing that delay is never denial, and what is yours cannot pass you by. The world teaches that you must push harder, speak louder, do more. But in the spiritual realm, more noise does not create more power. The opposite is true. The most powerful manifestations are not forged through struggle, but accepted through surrender, not through effort, but through alignment. To believe is to know that the seed is already planted. And what does the farmer do once the seed is placed in the soil? He does not dig it up, worried it won't grow. He does not scream at the earth, begging for roots to form. He waters it, he watches, he waits. And he knows, because the nature of the seed and the promise of the soil are enough. So it is with faith. Once you have imagined the end, once you have felt the reality of your desire is already fulfilled in the unseen, you must let it be, not because you have given up, but because you know it is done. To continue worrying, doubting, or forcing is to uproot what has already begun to grow. The still heart is the believing heart, and it is in this stillness that God moves. Stillness is not inactivity, it is inner peace. It is a spirit that no longer panics at what it sees, because it knows what it has accepted within. You may be walking through a storm, but faith will keep your steps steady. You may hear silence in the outer world, but faith knows that things are shifting behind the curtain. The curtain is only temporary, and behind it the divine is arranging all things according to your inner conviction. When you struggle, you are trying to make something happen. When you believe, you rest in the knowing that it already has. This is not blind hope, it is spiritual law. The moment you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you have already moved into the world where that reality exists. The outer must follow the inner. That is the agreement between the seen and the unseen. The need to convince others or even convince yourself is a sign that you have not fully entered the state. But when you do, when you shift from hoping to knowing, you will no longer need to speak about it constantly. You will not chase signs, you will become the sign. Your energy will carry the quiet weight of someone who has already received. Faith speaks in stillness. It waits with grace. It does not count the hours, nor does it compare paths. It does not wonder how or when, it simply aligns with the end and allows life to orchestrate the steps. And those steps, often invisible at first, will always lead you to the outcome you accepted within. So enter that stillness now. Lay down the mental noise. Set aside the need to struggle. Choose instead to occupy the place of peace, that place where the prayer is already answered, the healing already done, the door already opened. You do not have to fight for what is already yours. You need only be still and know. Faith is not proven in how much you move, but in how deeply you rest. In that rest, everything begins to unfold. Your focus is sacred. It is the compass of your life. Wherever you direct it, the energy of creation follows. What you constantly observe, entertain, and emotionally dwell upon expands, not because the world is choosing for you, but because your focus is signaling what you accept as real. Your focus determines what God magnifies in your experience. The divine presence within you responds not to your outer activity, but to your inner attention. You may not always control what appears in the outer world, but you always choose what you magnify. Two people can walk through the same situation, and one will find peace while the other finds chaos, because of where they place their gaze. You are not at the mercy of appearances. You are not a victim of the visible. You are a creator in spirit, and creation begins in attention. Divine energy is not random. It does not flow to what you simply wish for once. It flows to what you continually focus on with feeling. If you place your attention on lack, even if you pray for abundance, you will feel more lack. If you focus on fear, even if you speak of faith, your world will reflect fear. Not because God withholds, but because your attention is directing divine energy toward the very thing you do not want. But the moment you shift your gaze inward, toward the presence of God, the I am within, you tap into a power that transforms everything. To focus on God is not to repeat religious words or memorize scripture. It is to remember, moment by moment, that the Creator is not outside of you. It is within you, breathing through you and expressing as your life. When you focus on this truth, your thoughts change, your emotions stabilize, your world begins to bend in the direction of your inner state. What you focus on becomes your atmosphere, and that atmosphere attracts and shapes experience. This is not mysticism, it is law. If you constantly worry, you surround yourself with an energy that invites more reasons to worry. But when your focus is rooted in peace, trust, and the quiet awareness of divine presence, even storms cannot shake you. The key is not to fight your negative thoughts, but to starve them of attention. Starve the fear, starve the doubt, starve the assumptions of failure, and feed the truth. Feed the awareness of who you really are, a vessel of God's own being. The more you feed it with your focus, the more it grows. And what grows within you must eventually express itself without. If you fix your inner gaze on the presence of God, you will find that life begins to feel lighter. You stop looking to others for validation, for answers, or for signs. You stop reacting to appearances and start responding from truth. You move from the shadows of doubt into the clarity of vision. It is not about never being distracted, it is about returning your focus each time you drift. Come back to the center, come back to the I am, the presence that needs no explanation, no proof, no effort, only recognition. And as you recognize it, you begin to reflect it. Your words soften, your choices align, your energy carries the calm certainty of someone who walks with the divine. So guard your focus. It is not a small thing, it is everything. Let the world say what it will. Let circumstances rise and fall. But let your gaze remain fixed, not on the noise, not on the fear, but on the eternal presence within you. That is what God will magnify. That is what life will multiply. Because where your attention goes, divine energy flows, and what you see within, you will surely see without. There is a sacred instruction hidden in the stillness. Be still and you shall know. It is not a suggestion, it is a key. A whisper from the divine reminding you that everything you seek is already here, waiting just beyond your noise, beyond your panic, beyond your reaction. The answers you're chasing, the blessings you're praying for, the guidance you crave, they do not come through frantic effort, they come through inner quiet. Not when you are striving, but when you are trusting. Most people live in reaction. They move from one thought to another, one emotion to the next, tossed about by every shift in the external world. A piece of news changes their mood. A delay shakes their belief. A comment from someone else defines their worth. They are never still, and because of that they do not know. Knowing comes in the silence. It rises when the mind grows quiet and the soul is allowed to speak. In stillness, you hear what the noise of the world drowns out. You begin to sense the gentle movements of divine order, and you realize nothing was ever out of place. Everything was always moving exactly as it needed to. But you could not see it because you were too busy reacting. Stillness is not passivity, it is not laziness, it is not doing nothing, it is the most powerful form of spiritual alignment. In stillness, you are not escaping life, you are stepping fully into it without resistance. You are no longer trying to force what has already been promised. You are allowing the unseen to reveal itself in divine timing. When you are still, you stop chasing signs. You stop asking the same questions over and over. You stop pleading for evidence. You begin to walk with the kind of confidence that only comes from a deep inner knowing, not a surface-level hope, but a soul-level truth. You know that what you have accepted within must unfold without. You know that the delay is never punishment but preparation. Stillness teaches you trust. Not the kind of trust that needs to be constantly reassured, but the kind that rests. The kind that says, even if I cannot see it yet, I know it is working. This trust does not come from seeing results. It comes from becoming aligned with the source that creates results. And that alignment is only possible when you are still. You may think you need to do more, to fix everything, to explain yourself, to make others understand. But the truth is, most of what you are trying to solve will unravel on its own the moment you stop interfering. When you no longer react to every fear, every delay, every voice of doubt, you make space for divine wisdom to rise and show you a better way. You cannot hear it when you're shouting. You cannot feel it when you're frantic, but it has never left you. Stillness allows you to see that you were never waiting on the world to move. The world was waiting on you to be still, to trust the unseen, to walk by faith and not by sight, to sit quietly with your desire and say, it is done, without needing proof. That stillness is not weakness, it is power in its purest form. You don't need to figure it all out. You only need to quiet down and listen. Every answer will come. Every blessing will unfold. Every path will clear. But not because you forced it, because you aligned with it. Because you chose to trust rather than panic. Because you knew the divine lives in the still space between your thoughts. So be still, not just in body, but in mind, in spirit, in expectation. And you shall know. Know the truth, know the way, know the presence of God moving through your life, and that knowing will become your peace, your strength, and your unshakable foundation. In a world that urges you to act, to speak, to chase, and to prove, remember this: the most profound power moves in stillness. The divine does not need your struggle, it responds to your trust. Focus on God. Humble yourself and stay silent, not because you are weak, but because you are wise enough to align with something far greater than yourself. You don't need to shout to be heard by the heavens. You don't need to chase what's already yours in spirit. Be still. Trust the presence within. Where your gaze rests, God magnifies. What you surrender in faith returns in fulfillment. Let your silence speak. Let your humility rise. Let your focus become a prayer. Thank you for listening with an open heart. May these words become a quiet strength within you, guiding your steps with grace, power, and divine clarity. There is a sacred truth buried beneath centuries of noise. You already possess all that you desire, not because the world has given it to you, but because you are the one who gives it form, energy, and reality. You do not become rich by chasing riches. You become rich by assuming the state of wealth. You do not become loved by pleading for love. You become loved by dwelling in the awareness of already being cherished. You do not heal by begging for health. You heal by knowing you are whole. Everything begins in the unseen. Your mind is not a passive observer of reality. It is the creative power itself. And the secret is simple. Act as if it's already yours. The moment you desire something, it is born in the spiritual realm. The only thing left is for you to enter into the experience of having it, not one day, not when the conditions look right, but now. Close your eyes and go within. What would you feel if it were already true? What would you wear? How would you speak? How would you walk if the thing you sought had already arrived? That is the only work, to move your awareness from longing to fulfillment. Do not pray for it, pray from it. Do not beg the heavens. Speak from the mountaintop of already being. Live from the end. Feel the joy now. Dwell in the peace of completion, even when the world still shows lack. This is not pretending, it is creating. The outer world bends to the inner world, but it does not bend to the one who waits in worry. It bends to the one who lives in certainty. If you were already the person you wish to become, would you still worry? Would you still chase, doubt, or compare? Or would you smile calmly, knowing that nothing can be withheld from the one who has already received it in consciousness? You do not need permission. You do not need proof. You need only the courage to believe that you are already what you seek, that what you want is already yours, and that your job is to embody it, not to earn it. The world will test your resolve. It will send appearances that say you are still lacking. But remember, appearances are shadows cast by old beliefs. Do not bow to them. Walk in the light of your new identity. When you act as if it's already yours, you are not delusional, you are aligned. You are tapping into the deeper reality that shapes all things. You are stepping out of time and into timeless truth. All that you desire is already prepared for you, not in the future, but in the invisible now. Do not wait. Do not ask. Claim it, live it, be it, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match the frequency of your new self. Imagination is the first reality. Long before anything takes shape in the outer world, it lives in the invisible realm of thought, image, and feeling. The chair you sit on, the building you walk into, the clothes you wear, all of these were once intangible ideas in someone's mind. They did not spring forth from effort alone, but from the creative act of imagining. Imagination is not daydreaming or idle fantasy. It is the divine act of forming substance out of the unseen. The mind is the womb of creation, and imagination is its seed. When you imagine something clearly, vividly, with feeling, you begin the process of manifestation. You are not simply thinking about it, you are creating it. Every image you hold with conviction impresses itself upon the formless substance of reality, and from that impression, life is compelled to respond. To imagine is to claim. To imagine is to possess inwardly that which the senses have not yet confirmed. And yet, it is more real than what the senses say because it is the cause behind the effect. Outer conditions are merely the harvest of past inner images. If you want to change your life, change the image you are holding. Change the way you see yourself, not in reaction to the world, but in authority over it. The moment you imagine with belief, you have already shifted something powerful within you. You are no longer trying to get something, you are being it. You have stepped into alignment with the new version of yourself, and everything outside of you will begin to reflect this transformation. That is the law of life. It does not respond to desperate wishing, but to sustained assumption. When you say, I am wealthy, and you feel it, even for a moment, you are activating a new reality. That moment, if nurtured, will outpicture itself as physical evidence. The same applies to love, health, purpose, or peace. Your job is not to make it happen by force, but to hold the inner vision with reverence and certainty. When the image is clear and felt, the outer must conform. Do not look to the world to validate your imagination. Look within and see how your assumptions quietly give birth to your experiences. If you imagine that life is hard, full of struggle and rejection, you will experience exactly that, not because it is objectively true, but because it has become your internal law. But if you dare to imagine ease, joy, abundance, love, despite outer conditions, then you have chosen a new law, and reality must bend to it. But what you continually imagine becomes your state of being. And your state of being dictates your actions, your reactions, your expectations, and ultimately your outcomes. You do not live from facts. You live from belief. And belief is nothing more than imagination sustained. So if you seek to change your life, do not start with effort. Start with vision. Begin by imagining yourself already there. Feel the thrill of it, the relief, the joy, the freedom. Walk in that vision daily, not as a visitor, but as a resident, and trust completely that what you imagine with persistence must become what you experience in time. This is the secret. This is the root of all creation. Imagination is the first reality. Everything begins within. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is not a metaphor or poetic suggestion. It is a sacred instruction. The key to bringing anything into your life is to feel that it is already yours. Not tomorrow, not when conditions look favorable, but now. You must feel the end result, the completion, the satisfaction of already being the one who has what they once desired. When you assume the feeling, you are not lying to yourself. You are stepping into the deeper truth that reality begins within. You are claiming your power to create, not by struggle, but by identity. To assume is to accept something as real, even before your senses confirm it. And it is this inner acceptance, this deep emotional conviction, that causes the unseen to become visible. Feel it as if it were already done, not partially, not with doubt, but with full emotional engagement. Ask yourself, how would I feel if this desire were already fulfilled? Would I breathe differently? Would I carry myself with more peace, more joy, more confidence? Would I worry less? That feeling, whatever it may be, is the key. You must generate it from within, regardless of what is happening outside of you. The world does not respond to effort alone. It responds to the vibration you live from. And the feeling of already having your desire is the highest vibration of all. It sends a clear signal that says, this is already mine, and life mirrors that certainty back to you. Most people live in a cycle of waiting for the evidence, the approval, the miracle. But waiting is rooted in separation. It keeps you in a state of longing, not having. The secret is to skip the waiting You leap into the having by assuming the emotional state of fulfillment. And from there the pieces begin to align. Circumstances shift, people appear, ideas flow. Why? Because you are no longer trying to attract your desire. You are living as if it is already present. This is why it is not enough to visualize mechanically. The image must be charged with emotion. A dry image is weak. But an image infused with the feeling of fulfillment is a creative force. That feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the channel through which the formless becomes form. You do not need to understand how it will happen. The mind will question, the ego will doubt, but that is not your concern. Your only responsibility is to dwell in the state of having, to wake up with the feeling, to walk with it, to go to sleep immersed in it. This is not wishful thinking. It is spiritual law. When you live from the end, you collapse the distance between desire and reality. You bring the future into the now. And as you persist in this assumption, life organizes itself to match your inner world. Assume the feeling, not someday, but now. Let it become your natural state. The more you return to it, the more it becomes your reality. Not because the world gave it to you, but because you became the one who already had it. And in that becoming, the world had no choice but to follow. The world mirrors your inner state. It is not shaped by your efforts alone, nor molded by how hard you push, hustle, or strain. Life is far more subtle and intelligent than that. It responds not to outer action, but to the quiet, invisible convictions you carry within yourself. It does not grant you what you desperately wish for. It reflects back to you what you believe yourself to be. You may think you're asking the world to change, but in truth you're asking your own reflection in the mirror to smile while your face frowns. It cannot be done. The outer world cannot contradict the inner state. Whatever you are deeply convinced of, about yourself, about others, about the nature of life, will appear again and again in your experience, because consciousness is the only reality. This is why two people can live in the same city, work the same job, encounter the same world, and yet have completely different realities. One sees struggle, rejection, and hardship, while the other sees opportunity, support, and abundance. It is not the world that is different, it is the state each one lives from. One may be in a state of lack, the other in a state of sufficiency. One may believe that good things are hard to come by, while the other knows, deep within, that life is always conspiring in their favor. And the world simply plays its role like a faithful servant, echoing back the essence of each individual's inner convictions. The mirror does not judge, it does not argue, it simply reflects. This is why effort without belief leads to exhaustion. You can toil day and night, strive endlessly, chase every opportunity, but if your inner state is one of fear, of not being enough, of not having enough, then all that energy will be filtered through that lens. Life will mirror the fear, not the effort. The fruit of your labor will still carry the taste of doubt. At the moment you shift your state within, everything begins to change. Not because the world suddenly transforms on its own, but because you see differently, feel differently, act differently, and life mirrors that. When you move from a state of confidence, of worthiness, of peace, then even simple actions produce remarkable results. Even silence becomes magnetic. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. And what you are is defined by your dominant inner state, not your passing moods, but the emotional and mental atmosphere you dwell in consistently. If you live in the feeling of being unloved, you will find proof of it no matter how many people try to love you. If you live in the state of being blessed, life will continue to bless you even when it seems undeserved. So stop looking outward for confirmation. Look inward and ask, what state am I truly living from? What do I assume to be true about myself even without speaking it? That is the seed, and your world is only the harvest. Change the seed, and the harvest must follow. You are not powerless. You are the center of your world. And as your inner world shifts, the outer world has no choice but to reflect your new truth. Persistence in assumption creates manifestation. This is not merely a suggestion, it is a law. Your reality bends to the direction of your most consistent belief. One moment of faith may spark a vision, but it is persistence in that vision, in the midst of contradiction, that brings it into form. It is not the strength of a single emotional burst that shifts your life, but the quiet, unwavering loyalty to your inner conviction, day after day, regardless of what the outer world says. The outer world will test your assumption. It will present delays, doubts, and appearances that seem to deny your vision. That is its role, not to defeat you, but to ask, will you remain true to what you know within? Those who falter at the first sign of resistance never see the fruit of their imagination, but those who hold fast, who stay loyal to the end, will see the invisible made visible. To persist is not to strain. It is not to beg or plead. It is to remain rooted in the feeling of already having what you seek. It is to return again and again to the inner state where your desire is already fulfilled. It is to dwell in the end, not once, not occasionally, but continually. Most people abandon their vision when outer evidence contradicts it. They allow what they see with their eyes to determine what they believe. But manifestation does not work that way. Outer reality is simply the echo of previous assumptions. It is delayed feedback. What you see now is not truth, it is past belief materialized. So if you want to create something new, you must not allow appearances to shake your assumption. This is where true power lies, in the ability to feel what is not yet seen, to live from a state that defies current circumstances. When you hold your inner vision steady, you are declaring to the universe, this is what I accept as true. And the universe, bound by law, must eventually reflect that truth. Even the smallest doubt, when repeated, can delay your desire. But a small assumption, when persisted in faithfully, can move mountains. Continuity is the secret ingredient. You water a seed daily, even if the soil appears unchanged. You trust that something is happening beneath the surface. The same applies to your vision. Persist in the feeling, persist in the identity, persist in the assumption that it is already yours. You do not need evidence to believe. You believe, and the evidence appears. This is the reversal of the world's thinking, but it is the foundation of spiritual truth. The moment you allow yourself to live from the end, without flinching, without needing proof, you activate forces beyond logic. Life must rearrange itself to match your unwavering state. So no matter what shows up, no matter what delays or detours appear, remain loyal, speak from the end, feel from the end, live from the end. The world may shake, but your inner certainty must remain unshaken. Persistence is the bridge between imagination and reality. Walk it with confidence, and let no contradiction steal your vision. The one who persists, quietly, consistently, faithfully, will always witness the promise fulfilled. What you claim mentally becomes law in your world. This is not symbolic language, it is literal. The thoughts you consistently entertain, the silent words you speak within, the emotional reactions you repeat, these are not passive, they are commands. They form the blueprint that life must obey. There is no external authority dictating your reality, it is your own consciousness, constantly shaping and reshaping your world according to the claims you accept as true. Every belief you hold, every assumption you persist in, becomes a law unto itself. It does not matter whether others agree with it, whether society confirms it, or whether logic supports it. What you declare inwardly with conviction, life mirrors outwardly with precision. This is how the creative process works. Not by effort, but by mental identification. Your inner speech is powerful. The silent conversations you have with yourself shape the tone and direction of your life. If you constantly say to yourself, "I'm not enough," "It's always hard for me," "Nothing ever works out," then you are setting into motion a script that must reflect that belief. Life cannot contradict what you consistently affirm within. It is not life that is unkind. It is the inner speech that is. In the same way, when you begin to speak differently inside, when you say, "I am chosen," "Things are always working in my favor," "Everything I need comes to me at the right time," you are not being naive. You are rewriting the law that governs your personal world. It may not change overnight, but it must begin to shift, because consciousness is causation. Your inner reactions are another powerful force. The way you habitually respond to events emotionally becomes your baseline state. If you react with fear, anger, or defeat, then you are reinforcing a pattern of resistance. But if you train yourself to respond with peace, confidence, and quiet faith, even when things seem uncertain, you change the energy that shapes your outcomes. You are no longer reacting to the world, you are commanding it. And then there are your beliefs, the quiet, often hidden convictions that shape the entire structure of your life. You may not speak them out loud, but they operate constantly beneath the surface. If you believe you are unworthy of love, you will unconsciously repel it. If you believe that wealth is for others but not for you, you will sabotage every opportunity. But when you change the belief, everything begins to rearrange itself, not because the world changed, but because you did. You are not a passive observer of life. You are the lawgiver. And the law you give is based on what you claim to be true in the inner world. If you want to see a new life, you must first accept a new truth within yourself. You must claim it, speak it, react from it, and believe it before it ever shows up. Do not wait for the world to tell you who you are. Tell the world who you are by the laws you establish within. The moment you claim "I am" with sincerity and persistence, the universe begins to align with that statement. What you claim mentally does not merely influence your life. It becomes the law your life must follow. You are not attracting it, you are identifying with it. This is the great secret that shatters the illusion of separation. You do not draw things to you as if they exist somewhere far away, waiting for the right conditions. Nothing is outside of you. Everything you desire is already present in consciousness, waiting for you to align, not through effort or pleading, but through identity. To identify with something means to claim it as your truth. You are not hoping for love. You are love. You are not seeking abundance. You are abundance embodied. When you identify with the state of already having, already being, already possessing, you collapse the distance between yourself and the desire. It no longer lives in the future, it becomes a living, breathing reality within you now. This is not a mindset of lack, but one of dominion. You are not a beggar waiting for life to hand you blessings. You are not chasing miracles, writing requests, or proving your worth. You are the author of your experience. And as the author, you do not ask for your story to unfold, you declare it. You write it with your assumptions, your identity, your being. You choose the chapter by embodying the feeling of what you wish to see. There is no need to chase what is already yours in truth. Chasing implies it is apart from you, but identification says it is within me. I am one with it. You summon not by force but by being. You do not beg the sun to rise. You know it rises. That is the difference between desire born from lack and desire born from knowing. The moment you stop trying to attract and start identifying, you move into your creative authority. You are no longer subject to the whims of the world. You step into the role of the cause, and the world becomes the effect. This is not arrogance. It is alignment. You are not pretending. You are remembering the truth. Everything already exists in consciousness, and you access it through identification. So ask yourself, who would I be if I already had what I want? How would I walk? How would I speak? How would I feel? That is the self you must become, not through force, but through imagination and repetition. You rehearse it inwardly until it becomes natural, automatic, effortless, and the world, bound by divine law, must reflect that change. This is why the most powerful transformations do not come through action, but through assumption. The outer world is not the battleground. The shift happens within, silently. You no longer try to get, you become. And in becoming, you summon every condition, every circumstance, every person required to fulfill that state. You are not becoming something new. You are revealing who you've always been underneath the noise of doubt. You are the source, not the seeker, the artist, not the observer. Identify with the end, and the process will take care of itself. When you say, I am, followed by anything with conviction, you set that reality in motion. So speak with intention. Think from the end. Feel as the one who already is. Because you are not attracting it, you are identifying with it. And what you identify with must take form in your world. For the great secret of creation is not in struggle, but in stillness. Not in chasing, but in claiming. You are not here to beg reality into favoring you. You are here to awaken to the truth that reality responds to who you believe you are. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you persist in the inner vision, when you speak from the end and identify with the outcome, you are not asking for a miracle. You are the miracle. Everything begins and ends in consciousness. You do not attract what you want, you express what you are. The world does not respond to outer effort. It reflects inner belief. Your assumptions are the seeds, your identity the soil, and your persistence the water. And in due season, the harvest must come. Not by chance, but by law. Remain faithful to your inner claim. Let the outer world do what it will, hold the truth within. Because once you dare to be it in your mind, your world has no choice but to make it so. Sincere thanks to the listener. Thank you for giving your attention to these words, not just with your ears, but with the ears of your soul. May they take root in the silence of your heart and unfold as the life you've always known was yours. Your imagination is sacred. Use it boldly. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are here to change the world through who you are. Thank you for walking this path inward, for it is the only path that leads outward to everything. There comes a moment in your journey where it seems nothing is changing. The world around you feels stubborn, unmoved, but listen closely. That's the exact moment when the transformation is happening deep beneath the surface. Your desire was not born out of chance, it was born to be fulfilled. The moment you imagined it with conviction, you created it in the unseen. And now, even though your senses may deny it, the invisible structure of your life is being rewritten. When you begin to feel uneasy, don't mistake it as a problem. That discomfort is the old reality being shaken loose. You are shifting. You are evolving. The state you once lived in is cracking because a new state is being prepared for you. Do not retreat. This tension is sacred. When your desire starts to feel more real than what your eyes can see, know this: you are aligned. You are no longer hoping. You are knowing. And in that knowing, you've already entered the end. You walk in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and it becomes your new atmosphere. People around you may change. Some will disappear, new ones will enter. Conversations will seem strange, coincidences will rise, but these are not coincidences. This is the rearrangement. The bridge of incidents is being constructed to carry you from here to there. Let it unfold. Without fear, you'll find yourself not needing to make it happen. That is the clearest sign. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. When you let go of the outcome and dwell in the end, everything begins to flow. You'll realize it's not about forcing, it's about assuming. And yes, sometimes things will delay or break or shift unexpectedly. Don't panic. These are divine adjustments. They're not here to stop you, they're here to prepare you. Stay still in the knowing that your desire is already finished in the unseen. And then, the signs, repeating numbers, dreams, whispers, words overheard at the right time, all of it pointing you forward, all of it confirming what your imagination has already conceived. So I tell you, don't give up. Even if nothing looks different, your manifestation is working. Even if it feels quiet, the universe is not silent, it's precise. Remain faithful to the end you've chosen. Live there, feel there, rest there. Because your assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. And when it does, you'll smile. Not in surprise, but in remembrance. Because deep down, you always knew it was yours. There are moments along your journey when you feel unsettled, anxious, even frustrated. You've imagined the life you want. You've declared it, assumed it, and yet the outer world seems unmoved. You wake up with a strange restlessness, a quiet inner discomfort. And here is the truth you must understand: that restlessness is not a sign that things are going wrong. It is not a setback. It is a signal, a spiritual signal, that something within you is transforming. You are not who you once were. The moment you conceived a new desire, a life greater, freer, richer, you declared the end of your old identity. And now your consciousness is rearranging itself to make that desire real. But this shift is not without friction. Your old self is dissolving. The version of you that lived in doubt, in limitation, in lack, cannot follow you into the world you've imagined. That self must die, and that death often feels like restlessness. You may feel uncertain, even afraid, because the familiar is falling away. People may pull back. Habits may no longer soothe you. Goals that once made sense now seem hollow. You're not broken, you're being broken open. That anxious vibration isn't telling you to stop, it's telling you to keep going. The soil is being turned so something new can grow. The discomfort is the cracking of the shell. What you are experiencing is the natural unease that comes when the inner world shifts before the outer world catches up. Your body still walks in one world, but your mind, your inner reality, has already stepped into another. The tension you feel is simply the gap between the two. And the more you remain faithful to your imagined end, the more that gap will close. Most people misunderstand this moment. They interpret the anxiety as failure. They begin to doubt. They speak against their desire, and in doing so, they return to the old self. But you know better now. You recognize the restlessness for what it truly is, evidence that the inner work is unfolding. You are becoming unfamiliar with your past because you are becoming intimate with your future. Don't run from this feeling. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Welcome it. Know that it is not the enemy. It is the labor pain before the birth. The discomfort is holy. It means your thoughts are no longer echoing the life you had, but are starting to vibrate with the life you chose. This feeling will pass, and when it does, you will be on the other side of something sacred. But for now, trust it. Let the inner shaking take place. Let the illusions fall apart. What seems like chaos is the exact process through which order is born. What feels like anxiety is the fire that burns away the old. Remain calm, remain faithful, and most of all, remain in the assumption of the wish fulfilled. For what you desire is not ahead of you, it is within you, and it is already taking form. The restlessness is the sound of walls crumbling. Stay still. Something beautiful is emerging from within. There comes a sacred point in the process of manifestation when the desire no longer feels distant, feels present. It begins to feel so real, so natural, that it overrides what your senses show you. Nothing in the outer world may have shifted yet, but inside you something has already changed. You walk with a quiet certainty. You breathe with an invisible knowing, and this is the sign. Your manifestation is alive. It has moved from imagination into embodiment. When the desire becomes more real than the physical world, it's not because something outside has convinced you. It's because something inside has awakened. You've stepped into the state where you no longer ask when or how. You simply dwell in the feeling of it is done. The desire, once a hope, is now an identity. You don't chase it, you carry it. You don't affirm to make it happen, you affirm because it already has. This inner shift is not loud. It doesn't always come with excitement. In fact, it's often marked by peace. A kind of stillness settles in your soul. The mental effort fades. You stop trying to convince yourself. You no longer need signs or proof, because the proof lives in your assumption. You feel the reality within more powerfully than anything you can see or touch. Your mind stops arguing, doubt loses its grip. And even if challenges arise, even if the world still denies what you know, you are unmoved. Because you've seen it, you've felt it, you've walked in it within. And now your job is not to push or struggle, but to remain, to rest in the knowing that what is felt deeply will harden into fact. This is the true alchemy of manifestation. When the inner reality becomes so dominant that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. The desire has rooted itself in your being. It no longer visits you as a passing thought. It lives in you, and you wear it like a garment, invisible to others but undeniable to you. The world may still speak of lack, the bank account may still show less, the relationship may still be absent, but you feel full, you feel connected, you feel rich, because what you feel is real. More real than form, more real than conditions. And this feeling is not imagination anymore. It's creation in its purest form. People will not understand this moment. They look at your life and see no change, but they don't need to. The change has occurred where all true change begins, in the unseen. And once the inner shift is stable, once the state is occupied completely, the bridge of incidents will unfold on its own. You will be led, without effort, to the physical confirmation of what you already know. So if your desire feels more real than what's in front of you, rejoice. You have entered the secret. You have crossed the threshold where faith becomes sight. Now don't try to make it happen. Simply live as if it already has. Because in the world that truly matters, it has. The rest is simply catching up. When you begin to dwell in the feeling of your desire already fulfilled, something remarkable happens. Not through force, not through struggle, but quietly, with subtlety. People and circumstances around you begin to shift. It's not always dramatic or obvious at first. It might be a change in someone's tone, a random opportunity, a delay that turns into a blessing, or a chance encounter that opens the exact door you needed. This is the universe, or more precisely consciousness itself, rearranging the outer world to match the inner reality you've chosen to live in. Your assumption, your inner conviction is a seed, and once planted it must grow. But unlike physical seeds that need sunlight and soil, the seed of assumption grows by feeling, by persistence in thought, by the refusal to entertain the opposite. When you hold your vision firmly and walk through each day with the knowing that it is already yours, life bends to that knowing. People who once ignored you may now notice you. Conversations may arise out of nowhere that guide you toward your desire. Opportunities may fall into your lap, but none of this is random. None of it is coincidence. The world is not separate from your mind. It is your mind pushed out. And the moment you change the arrangement within, the world must obey. The faces, the events, the outcomes, all begin to dance to the rhythm of your dominant assumption. But here's the beauty. It does not require your conscious management. You do not need to figure out how it will unfold. You are not responsible for the construction of the bridge. Your only role is to occupy the state, to persist in the feeling of being the person who already has what they desire. And when you do that, the world becomes clay in the hands of that new identity. Sometimes this rearrangement will look like loss. Certain people may fall away, plans may get cancelled. What once felt stable may crumble. Do not fear this. The old structure must fall to make way for the new. When something exits your life during this shift, it is because it cannot follow you into your chosen state. Every ending in this phase is preparation. Every delay is redirection. And every detour is sacred. You are not at the mercy of random events. You are the cause, and when your inner reality changes, the outer world, like a mirror, cannot help but reflect it. This is why persistence is key. Because even when nothing looks different, the shift is already in motion. The people, the calls, the emails, the opportunities, all are being moved into position. You are not being tested, you are being aligned. The world is not resisting you, it is responding to you. And when you feel the desire as already done, when you live in the end, then reality must conform to that end. It may arrive quietly, it may come wrapped in disguise, but it will come. So when people change, when doors open, when delays occur, recognize what's happening. Your world is rearranging. Stay in your assumption. Remain faithful to your vision and allow the divine choreography to unfold exactly as it must. There comes a point in your manifestation journey where you stop asking, stop doubting, stop looking for signs, and you simply let go. But not because you gave up, not because you lost faith. You let go because you finally understand. It's already done. The desire that once felt so distant now feels close, familiar, like something that belongs to you. And in that quiet realization, the urge to control disappears. The need to chase, to beg, to force outcomes, it all dissolves. You don't let go by effort. You let go by knowing. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting your desire. It means no longer identifying with the version of you who lacks it. You no longer operate from the energy of lack, fear, or impatience. You don't search for evidence that it's coming, because in your heart, you've already received it. You walk in the world as if the thing you once wanted is already part of your life, and because of that, you stop trying to make it happen. You rest in the state of being. This is not detachment in the cold, indifferent sense. This is detachment through embodiment. You've so thoroughly accepted the reality of your desire that you no longer obsess over its arrival. Your mind is calm, Your spirit is light. You may still take action, but the action is inspired, not desperate. It flows from confidence, not from fear of missing out. Letting go happens naturally. When your imagination becomes more compelling than your senses, you've rehearsed the end so many times in your mind, felt the joy, the gratitude, the relief, that it becomes more real than what your eyes can see. You don't check the physical world for confirmation because the confirmation lives within. You stop needing reassurance because you've already assumed the identity of the one who has it. In this state, even the waiting feels different. Time is no longer your enemy. You're not counting days or watching the clock. Instead, you're living in alignment with your fulfilled desire, enjoying the unfolding without tension. You begin to see that control was always an illusion. The more you tried to force outcomes, the more resistance you created. But now, by surrendering the how and when, you've opened the path for the manifestation to arrive in the most perfect and unexpected way. You've stepped back, and in doing so, you've allowed the deeper intelligence of life to orchestrate what your limited mind never could. People may notice something different in you. You seem lighter, more peaceful, not because everything has changed on the outside, but because everything has shifted within. You no longer speak from a place of needing, you speak from a place of having, and the world responds to that vibration. So if you find yourself no longer desperate, no longer checking, no longer grasping, don't question it. Celebrate it. That stillness, that peace, is the greatest sign of all. You are no longer trying to get it. You are living as if it's already yours. And because of that, it must come. It often happens when you've committed fully to your desire, when you've been dwelling in the feeling of it already being yours, that life begins to test the firmness of your inner stance. Unexpected delays arise. Things that seem to be moving forward suddenly pause. Opportunities that look promising vanish without explanation. People may act out of character. Circumstances may feel like they're working against you. But understand this deeply, these are not blocks. These are not signs that your manifestation is failing. These are purifications, sacred adjustments that test and strengthen your alignment with the unseen reality you've claimed. The moment you declare that something is already yours, life begins to respond. But it doesn't always do so in a straight line. Instead, it begins to remove what doesn't belong to the version of you who has already received. The delays you encounter are not punishment. They are precision. They are removing interference, reshaping the path, and refining you in the process. You are being asked one question. Will you remain faithful to your vision even when the world gives you every reason to doubt? That is the test. That is the purification, not of your worth, but of your awareness. Are you embodying the state of the one who already has it? Or have you slipped back into being the one who is waiting? These obstacles are mirrors. They reflect to you the areas where your faith still wavers, where you still cling to fear or control. But they're also invitations. Every delay is an opportunity to respond as the fulfilled version of yourself, to feel the truth of your desire even when nothing visible supports it. And when you do that, when you remain still in the storm, something powerful happens. The old state breaks, and the new state becomes dominant. Most people run when faced with these disruptions. They declare it's not working. They shift their assumptions back to lack and uncertainty. And in doing so, they return to the very state they were trying to escape. But you understand now that the obstacle is not in the way, it is the way. It is the proving ground where your conviction is solidified. When delays happen, when things fall apart or seem to stall, ask yourself, how would I feel if it were already mine? Then return to that feeling. Rest in that identity. Refuse to be shaken by appearances, because appearances are temporary, but states are eternal. The physical world is only ever catching up to what has already been accepted within. Trust the timing. Trust the silence. Trust even the struggle, for it is polishing you. It is removing the residue of your former self. You are being shaped not just for the desire, but into the person who can sustain and enjoy it. The wait is not idle. It is transformative. So when the delays come, stand tall in the unseen. Speak from the fulfillment. Walk from the outcome. And know that nothing is lost, only refined. The manifestation has not left you. It is being prepared for perfect arrival. All you must do is hold the inner stance. It is already done. As you persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled, something mysterious begins to unfold around you. Without effort, without planning, signs begin to show up. Repeating numbers on clocks and license plates, meaningful songs on the radio, random conversations that speak directly to your situation. Dreams grow vivid, sometimes surreal, but undeniably symbolic. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are echoes of your inner world, showing up in the outer to remind you the unseen is responding. When you begin to dwell consistently in a new state of being, the version of you who already has, who already is, the outer world must follow. But before the full physical manifestation arrives, you are often shown signs. These signs are not to convince you. You don't need to be convinced if you are truly in the state. Rather, these signs are reflections of the alignment you've already cultivated. They mirror the frequency you're operating from. Repetitive numbers like 111, 222, or 555 may begin to appear with strange frequency. Each time you look at the time, the same digits greet you. These numbers carry meaning only because your consciousness is tuned into them. You notice them now because your awareness is sharper, more connected. Your inner eye is open. You're no longer looking outward for validation. You're seeing outward from the truth you've accepted within. And then there are the dreams. You may dream of arriving at a destination, receiving a message, or being handed something you've longed for. Even if the dream seems nonsensical on the surface, it leaves you with a strong emotional residue, a sense that something is already happening, already near. These dreams are your subconscious processing and aligning with the new identity you've chosen. They're a sign that your inner world is being reordered to match your desire. Synchronicities also begin to multiply. You think of a person and they call. You speak of something and see it moments later. These occurrences are not magic tricks. They are the natural consequence of a mind in tune with its higher self. The world around you is reflecting your dominant assumption, and the more you dwell in the more frequent these signs become. It's important not to chase these signs. They are not the source, you are. The signs follow the assumption, not the other way around. If you begin to look for signs to feel secure, you shift back into the state of not having. But when you remain confident and steady in your knowing, the signs will flow freely, like leaves carried on the wind of your belief. Let them come. Let them delight you. Let them gently remind you that you are not alone, that the unseen forces of reality are moving in harmony with your desire. But stay rooted in your inner conviction. The signs are beautiful, but they are just footprints leading to the fulfillment that already exists within you. So smile when they appear. Whisper thank you when the dream visits. Take it as a nod from the universe, a wink from your deeper self, and know that the bridge of events is building quietly, precisely, perfectly. Your assumption is alive, and all of reality is beginning to echo it. All manifestation begins within. Your inner state, what you consistently assume to be true, is the architect of your outer reality. When you feel the desire as done, when you walk in the unseen as if it was seen, the world around you begins to shift in response. Inner restlessness signals transformation. The desire becomes more real than what your eyes can observe. People and events align not by effort, but by the silent force of your conviction. You begin to release the need to control, because your spirit already knows. It is yours. Even the delays are not denials. They are divine adjustments. And the signs, the numbers, the dreams, they are not random. They are reflections of the reality you have already chosen to live. Do not waver, do not look to the world for proof, look within and remain in the knowing. Because if you can hold the feeling, the outer must conform. Your assumption, your belief is the cause. And once accepted, it is only a matter of time before the invisible becomes visible. Sincerely, thank you for listening. Stay faithful to the unseen, live from the end, and let your world reflect the greatness you've already imagined. My friend, the moment you entertain the idea that what you seek is too far, you step away from the truth. The truth is, it is already here, closer than breath, closer than heartbeat. The moment you dared to imagine it, it was conceived. You do not chase after what is yours by divine right. You align, you assume, you remain. And yes, there are moments when the silence gets louder than your hope, when the world outside refuses to mirror the vision inside. That is the test. That is the sacred moment most walk away, never knowing how close they were. You ask, where is it? Why hasn't it come? But I ask you, have you abandoned the state of knowing for the doubt of seeing? You are not here to react. You are here to create. You create by imagining boldly and refusing to waver, by accepting the end as done long before it whispers into the physical. Your senses will betray you. Circumstances may mock you, but the unseen is more potent than all appearances. Hold fast to your vision. Do not modify your desire to match the delay. The delay is not denial, it is preparation, rearrangement, the divine orchestration of all things moving toward you. You must live as though it is already yours, because it is. It was always yours the moment you claimed it within. So don't stop now. Don't talk yourself out of your own power. You are standing at the gate of your own answered prayer. One more moment of faith, one more day in the state, one more breath of conviction, and the world will have no choice but to yield to your command. Your job is not to figure out how. Your job is to remain in the knowing. The seed has taken root. The soil has been warmed by your belief. And though the tree has not yet broken the surface, it grows silently, surely, unstoppably. The time to give up was yesterday. Today, you persist. Because today, your manifestation is closer than you think. Stay there, feel it, live it, and it must come. Everything you desire already exists within the unseen realm of your imagination. It is not something you are chasing. It is something you are awakening to. The moment you first imagined it, it was conceived. That invisible act, that spark of inner awareness, was not mere fantasy, it was creation. What the world calls imaginary is the very blueprint of reality. And to remain faithful to this invisible act, to hold it within as though it is already your truth, is the single most powerful act you can perform. Yet most do not persist. They imagine once, maybe twice, and then retreat. They begin to observe the world of facts, the bills, the silence, the absence, and they let those shadows convince them that the imagined thing is not real, that their inner world was a lie. They abandon their creation, not knowing how close it was to becoming visible. To give up is to abort the birth of your desire. You do not plant a seed and dig it up the next morning to check if it's growing. You water it, you protect it, you wait, not with doubt, but with a quiet confidence that what is hidden is already unfolding. Manifestation is no different. It demands persistence, not effort, not struggle, but steady, unwavering inner conviction. Imagination is the womb of reality, and what you persist in imagining, what you continually return to, what you embody in feeling, that becomes your world. The outer world must mirror the inner one. That is law. But the mirror is delayed. There is a sacred gap between imagining and seeing, and that gap is what tests you. Will you hold on to your vision when nothing yet confirms it? Will you trust the invisible when the visible screams otherwise? Most people fall in that gap. They do not understand that persistence in the assumption of the wish fulfilled is the bridge. They allow time and appearances to weaken their faith. But time is not your enemy. It is your servant. It is giving shape to what you have already claimed. You must dare to live from the end, even when the beginning looks barren. You must dare to walk through the world with the inner knowing that your desire is already accomplished, not because someone told you so, but because you saw it, felt it, claimed it within yourself. And if you saw it clearly, then it is. The seed is planted. What you do in imagination is more real than what you see with your eyes, because the world of form is only a shadow of consciousness. Do not let the shadow define your faith. Let your inner world remain untouched by delay or doubt, because if you persist, reality must conform. It has no choice. It is bound by the law of consciousness. So persist. Not with force, but with quiet certainty. Return again and again to the scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. Feel it as though it were already so. Walk as the one who has it. Speak as the one who knows. And hold firm even when no sign appears. Because the moment you almost give up, that is often the moment it is just about to be born. The world you see with your eyes is not the final authority on what is real. Appearances deceive. They play catch-up to your inner world. What you feel is true within yourself. That is the seed of all reality. The mistake most make is placing their faith in what the senses report, not realizing that the senses are simply echoing a past state of consciousness. The life you're currently experiencing is not new. It is a delayed reflection of who you once believed yourself to be. This is why judging by appearances will always mislead you. The moment you set an intention, when you assume the wish fulfilled in your imagination, something shifts, but the shift is internal first. The change is silent, subtle, and sacred. The outer world does not always instantly comply, not because the inner work is weak, but because the world of form takes time to rearrange. It's like turning a massive ship. The wheel has been turned, but the direction takes a moment to catch up. You must understand this. The feeling is the truth. If you can feel it deeply and consistently, the feeling of already having, already being, then that is what creates. Not hope, not effort, but feeling. The emotional acceptance of your desire as already real is the engine of manifestation. And yet, when people begin this work, they quickly look outside for evidence. They check the phone for a message. They stare at the bank account. They search for signs in conversations, glances, numbers, and situations. And when the outer world does not immediately affirm the inner vision, they fall back into doubt. They say, maybe it's not working. Maybe it's not meant for me. But in doing so, they shift states from faith to fear, from knowing to questioning. and then wonder why their world doesn't change. The world will always reflect your dominant state. A moment of belief cannot compete with days of worry. You cannot treat imagination like a lottery ticket you check once and then forget. It is a state you dwell in. It is a knowing you carry, and the only thing that proves your manifestation is coming is the feeling of already having it. Not a sign, not a hint, but a deep inner resonance that says, "This is who I am now." It is possible to feel rich when the world calls you poor. It is possible to feel loved when no one has spoken your name. And it is that feeling, not your circumstance, that brings change. Circumstances are clay. Consciousness is the mold. Do not ask the clay to instruct the potter. So trust the feeling. Let it become your compass. Let it lead you when the world seems unchanged, because the world will change, it must. The moment you stop needing evidence and start living from the end, the outer must respond. It is bound to reflect the state you sustain within. The signs may lie, the senses may deceive, but the feeling, the felt truths, that is the law. Ignore the noise. Withdraw your faith from the facts and invest it fully in the unseen, for that is where all things are born. Keep your feeling pure, keep it strong, and know that what you feel is real must become real. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest who you are. The truth is, you already possess everything you seek, but not in the outer world. You possess it in consciousness. This is the great secret. Manifestation is not a matter of gaining, attracting, or striving. It is a matter of accepting what is already yours in the unseen realm, of claiming it inwardly and faithfully remaining there, unmoved by the illusions of absence. Desire is not a sign of lack. It is a signal from your deeper self that what you desire is already yours on the level of being. You are not trying to bring something to you. You are awakening to what is already within. When you truly understand this, the idea of chasing, begging, or struggling disappears. You stop seeing yourself as someone in need, and you begin living as someone who already is. This is the shift. You do not imagine to create, you imagine to remember. The moment you embody the feeling of already having, already being, you shift into possession. And once something is possessed in consciousness, the world has no choice but to mirror it. The problem arises when people confuse the physical arrival of the thing with the moment of its manifestation. But the truth is, the manifestation happens the moment you accept it within. That is the moment of change. Everything that follows in the physical world is just the slow unveiling of what has already occurred. You must understand, the outer is always late. Always. It is a delayed echo, a reflection. But the inner world is immediate. When you accept a new reality in your imagination, when you feel it as true without evidence, you have claimed it, it is yours. From that moment on, your only task is to remain in that state. Not to make it happen, but to stay there. Staying there means refusing to entertain thoughts of lack. It means ignoring the voice that says, "But nothing has changed." It means you walk, talk, and breathe as the one who already has it. Because in truth, you do. Your world is merely adjusting to your new identity. If you truly knew this, you would not be anxious, you would not be waiting, you would not be asking when. You would be resting in the knowing that the thing is already done. This is the peace that comes from living in the end. Not hoping, not needing, but receiving. So don't try to acquire your manifestation, accept it. Possess it inwardly, own it in silence. Let your inner conversations match the reality you have chosen. Let your reactions reflect someone who already has. This is not pretending. This is spiritual ownership. When you stop seeking and start being, everything begins to shift. The world cannot deny a man or woman who is fully persuaded of who they are. And if you can dwell in that knowing, if you can persist in the acceptance of your desire as already accomplished, then the physical must come. Not as a reward for your effort, but as a reflection of who you have become. You already possess it in consciousness. There is nowhere to go, there is nothing to wait for. Just stay there and let the world catch up. Delay is never a denial, it is a divine rearrangement, a sacred unfolding of what you have already accepted in consciousness. The moment you dare to assume your desire is fulfilled, your entire world begins to shift. But this shift is often silent, unseen, and misunderstood. You look around and it seems nothing is happening, or worse, everything appears to be falling apart. Yet what feels like chaos is not destruction, it is construction. What feels like a setback is often the very path to your assumption becoming form. When you imagine a new state, when you truly claim a new identity within, the old world must crumble. Not to punish you, but to make room. Reality cannot support two opposing identities at once. The self you used to be, the one who lacked, who feared, who doubted, must dissolve, and with it the circumstances that matched it. This unraveling is often mistaken as failure, but it is simply the old reality being deconstructed, brick by brick, so your new state can rise. Too often, people assume that if their desire doesn't appear quickly, something is wrong. They begin to question, to doubt, to slip back into the state of not having. But the delay is not proof of absence. It is proof of movement. The deeper the shift you've made, the more your world must rearrange. Do not interfere with this process by trying to control it. Do not dig up the seed because it hasn't bloomed in a day. Understand this. Your world is not punishing you, it is obeying you. But it is obeying your state, not your words. So when you assume the wish fulfilled, truly feel it and dwell in that identity, you have spoken the creative word. The rearrangement begins, even if nothing yet appears changed. You may lose people, opportunities may vanish, jobs may collapse, but none of it is to harm you, it is to align you. You ask for a new reality, and now everything that contradicts it must fall away. What is yours cannot be kept from you, but it also cannot reach you while you're holding on to the old version of yourself. Let it go. Let things shift. Let the path become unfamiliar. Do not panic when the middle looks messy. This is not the end. It is the turning. Have you ever cleaned out a closet or rearranged a room? It must first become a mess. Things come off shelves. Dust is stirred. Items are thrown away. It looks worse before it becomes beautiful. Your life is no different. When your assumption is strong, the rearrangement is natural. The only thing that delays it further is your resistance, your disbelief, your impatience. So rest in the knowing that delay is divine. It is not the universe withholding. It is the universe aligning. It is the unseen moving all things into harmony with your inner state. And if you can stay faithful in the waiting, if you can hold your assumption when everything else is dissolving, you will walk into a life you once only dreamed of. Do not curse the delay, bless it. It means something is happening. It means the old is clearing. It means the new is coming. Your only task is to remain in the state. Everything else will follow. There is a strange and sacred moment that comes to all who dare to imagine boldly. A moment when everything within you is tempted to give up. It arrives quietly, sometimes suddenly, and it brings with it an overwhelming pressure to quit. Nothing seems to be working. The evidence of your desire is nowhere in sight. Doubt creeps in like fog, heavy and unrelenting. It whispers lies. It's not going to happen. You were foolish to believe. It's time to let it go. But this moment, this pressure, is not a sign of failure. It is the final test. The darkest hour is not symbolic, it is real, and it almost always comes just before the breakthrough. It is not random. It is not punishment. It is the final purification of your faith. Will you hold your state, your vision, your inner knowing, even when the world outside gives you every reason not to? Will you persist in the assumption when the evidence seems to mock it? That is the test. And it is not cruel, it is purposeful. When you first assume the wish fulfilled, you feel powerful, clear, even euphoric. But time passes and the outer world hasn't caught up. You begin to wonder if you were wrong. This wondering is the crossroads. One path leads back to the old state, safety, comfort, and resignation. The other path requires you to step fully into the unknown. It demands that you trust in the unseen, not because you see proof, but because you know who you are. Most people stop here. They stop just before the bridge appears. They let the noise of the outer world convince them that nothing is happening, but everything is happening just beneath the surface. The pressure you feel is not a signal to give up. It is the birth pangs of the new reality. You are about to emerge. You are being asked to hold on a little longer, not because it is far away, but because it is close. Think of it this way. The seed breaks through the soil not because it is failing, but because it is growing. The pressure you feel is the result of your inner expansion. The old self is dying. The old beliefs are crumbling. And just before the new world becomes visible, there is a moment of complete silence. A void. An empty space. That space is sacred. Do not rush it. Do not abandon it. Stay. Your bridge of incidents, the path that connects the invisible to the visible, is forming. But it cannot appear until you have proven to yourself that you no longer need proof. The moment you stop looking for signs is often the moment the sign appears. Not to reassure you, but to confirm what you already claimed. This is why persistence is the secret ingredient. Not effort, not striving, just being. Remaining in the state, refusing to give up what you've already accepted. And if you can do that, if you can face the pressure without bending, the breakthrough becomes inevitable. So when it gets hard, when it gets quiet, when it feels like nothing is moving, remember, this is the final test. And if you can stand still in your assumption, if you can remain faithful to what you felt is real, the bridge will appear, the door will open, and everything you imagined will step forward just as you believed it would. Feeling you carry is not just an emotion, it is the magnetic force drawing your desire into form. Every time you return to the state of the wish fulfilled, every time you feel the truth of your desire as if it were already done, you send out a silent command to the universe. You are not begging, you are not wishing, you are knowing. And that knowing is creative. It pulls unseen threads together in perfect timing, perfect order, and perfect alignment. You don't need to know how, you only need to remain faithful to the feeling. That's the part that people overlook. They chase signs, watch the clock, and monitor circumstances, never realizing that all the power is already in their possession. It's not in the world, it's in their state. The longer you dwell in that inner state, not occasionally, not when it's easy, but consistently, the more magnetic you become. You don't attract by effort, you attract by identity. You become the one who already has it. You walk like it, breathe like it, react like it. You don't fake it, you embody it. That embodiment is what causes the world to rearrange itself around you. You don't need to run after anything. In truth, your desire is already moving toward you. Not because you forced it, but because you finally became the version of yourself who lives in that reality. But this requires faith. Not blind belief in an idea, but loyalty to the unseen. Faith is the ability to remain true to your chosen state, even when the senses report the opposite. It's the quiet courage to say, I know it is done, without needing anything outside to confirm it. And as you continue to feel it real, something begins to shift. Not just within you, but in the world around you. Conversations change, people appear, doors open, not because you chase them, but because your vibration, your assumption, your identity call them in. So don't stop now. Not when you've come this far, not when the bridge is forming. If you were to stop now, you would be like a sculptor who walks away just before the final detail is carved. You've already shaped the inner mold. Now let the outer world catch up. It's already reaching for you. Every time you close your eyes and feel yourself to be the person who has, who is, who lives the life you imagine, you bring it closer. You are collapsing time. You are making the invisible tangible. You don't need permission. You don't need proof. You just need to stay in the feeling. Let others panic. Let the world rush. You remain still. You remain sure. And in that stillness, in that certainty, creation takes place. The faithful feeling is the creative act. It is the spark and the bridge. And the longer you dwell there, the more your world bends to meet you. So breathe deeply, return to the state, see it, feel it, know it, because it is yours. Not someday, not soon, but now, in consciousness. And what is accepted there must appear here. Keep dwelling, keep feeling. It's already on its way. You are not waiting for your manifestation. Your manifestation is waiting for you to remain in the feeling of it being already done. This journey is not about forcing outcomes, chasing signs, or doubting in the dark. It is about dwelling in the state of fulfillment, trusting the unseen, and walking by inner knowing, not outer evidence. Everything you desire is already yours in consciousness. Stay there. Let the old fall away. Let delay work on your behalf. Let the pressure refine your faith. Your consistent inner feeling is calling the new world into form. Do not quit on the edge of your breakthrough. The bridge is forming under your feet even now. Hold the state, feel it real, persist in the assumption, and the world will not only reflect what you've imagined, it will confirm who you've become. Be closer than you think. Thank you. Thank you for listening and allowing these words to be planted in your spirit. Let them guide you back to your power, the power to assume, the power to feel, the power to know it is done. Stay faithful, stay focused, and above all, stay in the state, because everything is already yours.